Para para pa 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 pa. Pam para para pa 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 pa. Oh no, that's the Superman theme. Oh damn, there's no way I can go back to Star Wars now. Pra pa pa para pra pa pa para pra pa pa para pram pa 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 pram para da 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 da. Okay, that's dumb. I just canceled that. And Eric is gonna be so mad when he sees that. So this might be the last show. What you gonna do? Hello everybody and welcome to the 57th episode of the Serbian Corner. It is a podcast about the NBA champions Denver Nuggets, hosted from the homeland of the best basketball player in the world. My name is Miroslav and I have plenty of thoughts to share with you after a month-long hiatus caused by me having a real life for a change. First, the biggest thing that happened from my perspective was Nikola Jokic skipping the NBA World Cup and making many Serbian sports fans, angry. There's a lot to parse through here, but since it happened a couple of weeks ago and you already had the chance to listen to some good takes from Voya and Adam on Locked on Nuggets, and also some excellent perspectives from D-Line and Dev on this channel on the day it happened, I won't be verbose. First of all, my feelings, I am very sad. This is the pinnacle of Nikola Jokic's career, which will last for several more years, and this and next year are the World Cup and the Olympics. So it's literally his best years for the national team. I've seen comments that we shouldn't worry. Nikola will surely come back for the Olympics. But the cold reality is it will be extremely hard for Serbia to qualify for the Olympics via World Cup. And if they get the chance to retry next year on the qualifying tournament, that one will surely be without Nikola since it is in the middle of July. So that chance is pretty slim too. Serbia missed 3 out of last 4 Olympic tournaments. And if Nikola misses these Olympics too, his next chance will be in 2026 at the Eurobasket. And that is so far away, who knows what could happen by then. My biggest fear here for Nikola is that he might end up like Dirk Nowitzki as an all-time player without the gold medal around his neck. Lionel Messi, for instance, got his World Cup championship late in his career. Let's hope this happens to Nikola too. I famously ranked him tied for the greatest Serbian player of all time, according to Miroslav points, and I'm sad he's not adding some more in Manila, Philippines this year. The other factor here is the way the Serbian national team played with Nikola so far. He was considered a nobody in 2016 Olympics when he won his only silver medal, but emerged as one of the best players of the team at the age of 21. In 2019, a fully loaded Serbian roster had him as a backup power forward. They lost to Facu Campazzo and Argentina in the quarterfinals, but beaten Team USA with Donovan Mitchell, Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, Chris Middleton, and pre-injury Kemba Walker. That was the best Serbia game in the Jokic era, alas, not for the medals. At the pre-Olympic tournament in 2021, Serbia couldn't beat Italy at home without Nikola, so they missed the biggest tournament. And then last year at the Eurobasket again, very strong Serbia roster that was missing only its heart and soul. Bogdan Bogdanovic couldn't get past Italy again. All of this to say, it wasn't Nikola's fault he didn't win a gold medal in either of those tournaments. Sure, his chance would have been greater if he played in 2017, or somehow showed up for that pre-Olympics tournament in the middle of July of 2021. But the reality is the team didn't use him in a way that would optimize the best player in the world. The Serbian Basketball Federation is a very traditional organization that needs to evolve its national team program to become more modern and more suited to players in 2020s. Sure, for instance, Spain has a bigger player pool that has been working better over the last 20 plus years, but they also add an American player on the position of need so they can overcome the lack of depth when they're introducing young players into their program. They also have their players absolutely loving playing for the national team deep into their 30s, and that might be something Serbia just doesn't have anymore. The Serbian national team has won only 4 medals in the last 21 years, and I'm afraid it will get worse before getting better. That doesn't mean I won't be keyed in on the World Cup and supporting our guys that will play. It's just that the expectations need to be lowered. Serbia is probably the 5th or 6th best team from Europe in the World Cup with a roster that we will have. None of the 5 starters from last year will be playing this time around. That's actually not true. Vanja Marinkovic will probably be playing, but he will not be a starter because, Bogdan will be in his place. On the other hand, we are still waiting to see if Jamal will be playing for Team Canada. It looks like he will. Their group with France, Lebanon, and Latvia is in Jakarta, Indonesia. And I would really be happy for him to be able to experience the tournament. They have a pretty young team that could start making some chemistry and become crazy good next year for the Olympics. For all of my other thoughts, more specifically connected to the Denver Nuggets next season, I wanted to bring some help in. And boy, did I get some help. First, a returning offender. He is best known as the only winner of the steps on the DNBA show. He is the biggest Will Barton fan in the world. Some would even say he's the union leader of that fan club. He is one of the first guys whose comments I was reading some 7-8 years ago on the Denver Stiffs when I was first introduced to the Nuggets fandom. Calling from Austin, Texas, it's Connor, aka Chill Ducey, or just Deuce for friends. What up, Deuce?
Hey, how are you? So happy to be here. Thinking about the Nuggets just continues to bring me so much joy over the past few weeks, and with some of my favorite Nuggets people around. So thank you for having me.
Yeah, actually, last time we spoke on this show, that was in November last year. So almost full season ago. So I wanted to ask you, how does it feel today to be on the top of the world? And does your fandom changes now that you're a fan of the world
championship? I am extremely envious of the people that were confident the Nuggets were going to win a championship, because to me, it was really surreal. I kind of it took it happening for me to really believe it. So it's just been so fun. I mean, I don't know if my fanhood's changed. I've definitely been less invested in this offseason than typical, just because I'm we've made it to the mountaintop. It's kind of surreal. Jokic is unanimous best player alive. We won a championship. I truly never thought the Denver Nuggets would win a championship. I really didn't, even knowing how good Jokic is. So it's just been it's so cool. I mean, I'm so happy.
It's really always safe to bet on the field against your team. So yeah, I agree. It was a long shot some years ago, but now when we see how well the team is built around our superstar, it makes much more sense now than a couple of years ago. Tell me, Nuggets Twitter saw your presentation on why Nikola Jokic is good at basketball at your workplace. Please tell me, what was that all about?
Yeah, I might need to, market that and maybe release it onto the internet. I work at this pretty small company. It's kind of a startup energy, and we have a weekly meeting, and the previous format was getting stale. So started asking employees to give presentations about anything, completely optional. And of course, I'm just annoying. So I wanted to do a presentation and, kind of did a bit where I just really broke the film down for my coworkers for, Nikola Jokic for 10 minutes. So I had a great time. And now a few more people understand why Nikola Jokic is so great.
Now we definitely need to see that. So please share it with the world. Okay, another returning offender is joining us now. He is a co-host of the ever-growing Nuggets podcast called Four Corners, a long-lasting MPJ defender, a Coast Guard, also a Denver Stiffs comment section legend, calling from sunny Louisiana. It's a guy who is buckets since '88. It's Peter Martin, a.k.a. West Bank Pete. What's cooking, Pete?
What's up, Miroslav? Last time we talked was in a world where the Nuggets were ringless, and now Nuggets are world champions. Feels good.
Yeah, so I really need to hear your updated takes on the Nuggets today, more specifically on your Nuggets fandom today, because I've heard them on your podcast, but just for the people that still didn't get around to to hear Four Corners. Please give me a bit about your updated fanhood takes.
Yeah, I mean, I don't feel like anything's really changed all that much. I mean, I'm still just invested as always. Definitely feel like the pressure's off, so it's kind of like all these other moves are happening around the West, and I just don't care as much as in the past. It's like they're all chasing us. So I still haven't seen a move that's got me shaking in my boots. I've been just, relaxing this summer. I took a geography class. I was pretty good on Western geography. I know that Utah's got the big Salt Lake, but I found out that on the East Coast near Philadelphia, right next to it, they got the Delaware River. The city leaders are thinking about renaming it the Salt River for all the tears from the Sixers fans that are just flowing through the streets and into the city, eroding the streets. It's really sad.
Yeah, I really feel for them. It's really sad to see a whole fan base completely melt down like that. It's really what we didn't want to see. Okay, and last but certainly not the least, a Serbian corner debutant calling from, I hope I'm not messing this, calling from Cyprus, California. It's not Cyprus like in the Mediterranean Sea. It's a place called Cyprus. Just like Deuce and Pete, one of my favorite Stiffs commenters, a guy with very strong Nugget takes that are not easy to argue with. He is a former writer for the Denver Stiffs also. You can find him on Twitter as @RxSmart2, but his real name is Ray Martinelli. Welcome to the show, Ray.
Hello. First time here, so I feel like I'm definitely going to be the noob. Like not knowing what to say or just stepping all over you guys.
So I would have to go back and look at some of your older tweets or older comments. And since I've spent the last 2 weeks at the Aegean Sea in Greece, I did zero prep for this show. So based on my memory, that's not getting better every year, but it's getting worse. I believe you weren't surprised with the Nuggets championship this year. Am I right?
Well, maybe this year. I felt like the window sort of opened as well. The year they got Aaron Gordon, maybe even the year they got Jeremy Grant. So I figured like out of those next 5 to 7 years, there would be one in there. And so I wasn't really like surprised that it happened. But then as soon as like the beginning of the playoffs started, I was kind of like Connor or like Deuce, sorry, that I just felt like, ooh, this is kind of scary. Like at least I was worried the whole time, even though I felt pretty confident. But I did think at some point it would happen. But you have like 5 to 7 tries, and then 2 years of that got taken out by the injuries, and then since then it's been great. Yeah, and this offseason has been I just the funny thing for me is I like to like read or watch like YouTube videos of when people are talking about the Nuggets and they say they're the best team, and they always put at the end by far, and it's like oh man, that's just great to hear, and it's totally true in my opinion.
Yeah, D'Angelo Russell actually a couple of days ago said that Nikola Jokic is the best player in the world, and it's not close, which is pretty cool to hear from LeBron James's teammate. Like,
yeah,
he's probably like, I already got that extension. I'm not staying on the Lakers for more than 2 months, so I can say whatever I want. So yeah, I'm guessing that was it. Okay. I don't want to go very long on this first segment, so we'll take a short break and then we'll start the actual Nuggets talk. Okay, enough chit chat. Down to business. I wanted to start with the news we got from Mike Singer a couple of hours ago. Vlatko Čančar played yesterday for the team Slovenia against Greece and had a bad landing, I guess, on his left knee. And now we know that he actually has a torn ACL, which is devastating news for his career. That means at least 9 months of recovery. And that means that this season for him is already over even before it started. So this is incredibly unlucky. I felt this was the season for him. Nuggets' bigs rotation never had as few players before him as this summer. And then we get a freak injury on the preparation game for the national team. The Nuggets still have a team option on his contract for 2024-2025 season, so the season after this one. And I don't know if they will pick it up with these news. We might have seen the last of Vlatko with the Nuggets and also at the NBA, to be honest. But I sincerely hope that's not the case. Having said that, Denver now has on the bench only DeAndre Jordan and Zeke Naji, unless you want to count Hunter Tyson as a backup 4. They're not very reliant on, they're now very reliant on Zeke staying healthy. And if he does, will probably learn in the first couple of months if the Nuggets will try or even be able to extend Zeke, because he is on the expiring contract right now. So, guys, what are your thoughts on Vlatko and the Nuggets, bigs rotation after the news? Let's start with Duce.
Yeah, terrible news. Obviously, Vlatko kind of, maybe established himself last year as an NBA player, and then obviously opportunity this year to, I think, physically Zeke should probably be better than Vlatko, but I'm not sure that necessarily is true, and I'm not sure that's how it would have played out this year. So, it's a huge bummer because I think he's kind of just a reliable, NBA player, although it is so interesting that he's just been in and out of the rotation so much over the years that it's hard to say that for sure. And it's not always necessarily clear what is holding him back. But, I just think the Nuggets are kind of thin. So obviously someone getting hurt is horrible, and Vlatko, just terrible timing for him. So I feel for him. And it was on such an awesome Vlatko play. Like, he's sneaky athletic, like climbing through the trees to yam one. He can do that. So it sucks.
Peter?
Yeah, I just feel bad for Vlatko. I thought he played well last year when he played. Obviously, Malone didn't trust him in the playoffs for some reason, but, it worked going with Jeff Green. Then they don't bring back Jeff Green. So I think that kind of signaled confidence in the players that we were bringing back, Zeke and Vlatko. And now it's pretty much all up to Zeke. Now it's sort of like the red carpet is rolled out for you, dude. Like, you're going to get minutes. Let's see what you can do with it. I think the biggest bummer about it, other than just it sucks for Vlatko, is I think you're going to have more guys sort of kind of be forced to play out of position now. Because if you look at Malone's options, he's pretty much either going to have to play Zeke at the 5 full time, or he's going to have to play DeAndre Jordan. So not really a great option either way. I imagine he's not going to play DeAndre Jordan game 1 of the season. It's kind of going to be like a by emergency, matchup type thing. So we're going to have Zeke at 5, and then he's probably going to have to stagger MPJ or, unfortunately do what he's done in the past, which is play guys up in position, shift Christian Brown or Peyton Watson to the 4 on bench units. So he's going to have to mix and match some things. But the bench has always kind of been in flux ever since the Nuggets have been a contender. So as long as they can piece it together in the regular season and stay above water, I'm not that worried about it. I still think they have enough to be formidable by the time they get to April.
Ray, before the show, we chit-chatted a bit, and you had some interesting takes about the bigs rotation now with these news.
First of all, I don't do we know what position Zeke, not really sorry, but what position Vlatko is playing? Because sometimes he kind of plays, I guess it's mostly 4, but every once in a while he does kind of shift to the 3. Or am I just misremembering that? Maybe not this year. Because I do wonder if this is going to force Malone to do a lot more staggering, which is something that I think all of us have, wanted for a lot of this whole time that they've had the bad bench. So in that way, I think that there could be some positives from this. For next year, it's going to be hard, I think. But what about for future years? You're going to have these rookies that are playing more than they probably would have without Vlatko. So you're going to hopefully get them a little more experience quicker. So maybe it hurts them this year, but possibly in future years they're going to be a little bit further ahead than they would have been. And then what was it that we were talking about before? I totally forgot. Oh yeah, I do feel like the bench, it seemed like it didn't have a lot of shooting, and that's if Mike went with Mike Goal went with now if you're forced to throw somebody like Hunter Tyson in at 4, it really becomes a really, really nice shooting backup, unit, or it could be. So there could be some positives. I mean, obviously, it really, really sucks for Zeke.
For Vlatko, yeah.
Oh my gosh, for Vlatko.
The thing about this that's interesting from the roster construction point, and that's really not the most important thing right now. The most important thing is to support Vlatko in recovering fast and hopefully coming back to the Nuggets for the season after this one. But the Nuggets have 15 guys locked in their contracts. They don't have anybody that's really expendable. I mean, they do have DeAndre Jordan, who is a security blanket, but you don't want to trade him away to get somebody to replace Vlatko, and you don't want to trade away Reggie Jackson, because you don't actually have a point guard outside of Jalen Pickett behind Jamal Murray. So it's really interesting. The Nuggets have a lot of wings, I guess, much more than we are used to. And we are used to rosters with 7 power forwards, and this is the first year we are entering with like 1 on the bench. Yes, sure, we do play like 2 power forwards in our starting lineup, and the Nuggets actually did play a lot with those combo forwards before. So you can say that Vlatko actually fitted that bill, like Aaron Gordon, like Michael Porter. Like, you can put him in either of those positions, and he's competent at least in either of those. So do we expect? I kind of think that DeAndre Jordan is now playing from game 1. I just could not imagine Michael Malone relying on so many rookies off the bench. What do you think, Deuce?
I think there's a chance that DeAndre plays a little bit to start the year, but obviously I just don't view that as sustainable success-wise to rely on DeAndre night to night. Although, shout out to the DeAndre Jordan dunk against the Timberwolves. That was like a sneaky great moment in the playoff run. Yeah, it's really tough because I think the Nuggets need Zeke to be a 5. And I think one of the biggest struggles with him and his career thus far is like he just kind of, hasn't necessarily proven to be a 5. But I think best case scenario for the Nuggets is they can play Zeke at backup 5. So yeah, but yeah, DeAndre, I mean, I think he's going to play a little bit, but I think everyone would be concerned if he was a rotation norm.
Peter, if Zeke is a 5, who is the 4 of the bench? And please don't say Aaron Gordon, because I don't want him to play 40 minutes from the jump.
Well, you either have to stagger MPJ or it's got to be Hunter Tyson, because I just don't want to put Peyton Watson or Christian Brown in that position. I just think they would just get destroyed on the boards and, physically.
What do you think, Ray?
I think just like Pete said, it's probably going to be MPJ, Aaron Gordon, Hunter Tyson, like a combo of that. Like, I think that if we just put one guy into that backup role, then it's not going to be that. Do we know, like, if Mike Malone is going to be the same as he was in previous years? It's something I've been thinking about because, he seemed really wound tight, especially in the regular season when it comes to people making mistakes. But now, first of all, he's got a championship. And so he's pretty much certified. His job is secure, I think, no matter what. What about, and also Calvin has given him this young roster. Do we think that maybe Michael Malone's going to be different this year? And I actually kind of do. Like, I think he's going to let a lot more things slide. And so maybe it is going to be one of the young guys like Hunter.
Ray, I absolutely love that point. I mean, I think that's a huge storyline for this year. We've always seen Malone and the Nuggets essentially push for every game in the regular season, and some of that was by necessity due to like, hey, we need to win games. And I do think the 1 seed is important for the Nuggets, but I think it's going to be really interesting to see if like Malone's more chill.
Or
I think it's possible, but I also think there's a chance that it's not possible at all, and Michael Malone's just Michael Malone.
he might completely desert the staggering and playing his starters 36 minutes straight, like in every game, and just eating those 12 minutes of -9 every night, hoping that will not be too much to together with this. But we don't know. It's too early. We need to see at least those preseason games to get a better grip of what he's going to go. I actually think that Peyton Watson at the 4 might be an option there. They might try to play more switchy on defense. I mean, they have the potential to be really good defensively. I just am afraid about Zeke's health playing at the 5. Not a lot of teams have those big bruising 5s, but those that have, they're going to be plenty for him. Okay, let's now move to another question, and this question was actually asked by Brad Arnold on X, and that's not some secret society. It's what we are forced to call a social network, formerly known as Twitter. So these questions are Brad's concerns for why the Nuggets might not repeat next season, and let's go one by one and see what his doomsday scenario is. So, first of all, Brad asked if there is a potential for locker room discord between Jamal Murray and Michael Porter, fighting for the number of shots and playing off each other. My first thought here is that this is something to monitor because MPJ is a former projected number 1 pick that should finally be able to hit the ground running 2 years after his last back procedure, and Jamal hopefully starting the season fully conditioned and ready to attack that all-star, all-NBA tier and get that 35% of salary cap supermax extension next year. Having said that, MPJ still has 4 years on his deal and has shown incredible team-oriented basketball last year especially. So I'm very optimistic he will accept that super role player role again, at least for another year or two, and let Jamal go get his. Of course, I hope to see more good minutes of them playing together without Jokic and really expanding their chemistry. By the way, don't expect Nikola to take a back seat so both of these guys could significantly increase their production, as Nikola is just stumbling on 25 points every night, even when he's concentrating on working the other guys into their best selves. So let's start with Peter this time around. You are a big MPJ guy, so can you see a world where he is like, "Come on, guys, I gave you a championship. Now let me be a guy"?
I mean, I could see him wanting an increased role, but I don't think it's going to be icy between him and Jamal, because I feel like we have enough of a sample size with Jamal now that he's fine with chilling until the playoffs. I mean, I'm not saying he's not trying or anything, but he turns it up a notch in the playoffs. So if MPJ wants to eat a little more in the regular season, I don't feel like anybody's got to have a problem with that. You know, Jokic is unselfish pass first player anyway. I agree with you. The Jokic isn't going to he's not going to drop down to 15 points a game or anything like that. But I think that Malone's going to stagger those two. So whenever Jamal's on the bench, MPJ is going to get to cook. And, I think a lot of times last year with Bruce Brown, even though Bruce Brown was pretty good for us, he's still more of a score first type player. I don't feel like anybody on the roster outside of Jokic really set MPJ up all that well. And, Reggie's going to get a bigger role this year. And even though I know people would probably consider him a score first guard, he's already got his contract locked up. He's not trying to have some career year the way Bruce Brown was. So I just feel like if he's healthy, if he's bouncy, if he looks good to start the season, there's no reason they can't run a lot more plays for him.
Ray, do you think there is a chance that locker room might not be as good as this year?
With respect to MPJ, I don't think that really there's much of a chance. I guess I'm just super impressed with how not only mature MPJ has been throughout this whole process, from the first time he actually showed up, but also I just really trust Jamal, really trust Yo that they're going to make the right play. And I don't think that Jamal's got to score 25 points to become all NBA, get this this big deal. I think that it can be something where he just has a lot more impact, and maybe that doesn't even show up in the actual bulk stats. But I think that the impact is going to be where he's felt, and I think that they just have a really good like relationship on the court, and like, or just the way that they all play together. It just, I don't really see like missed passes to MPJ, at least from those two at least. So I don't think that this is going to be the year that that this would happen. But maybe in the future, like if it just, his role doesn't ever expand, possibly. I just don't think that's going to be a problem this year. And also with Vlatko's injury, there's probably going to be more shots that are just that maybe keeps him wanting to get. Maybe.
Deuce, what do you think? What are the chances of?
I think I'm not concerned with it. I think the framing isn't necessarily about Jamal and Jokic. I think it's more about like MPJ's game. Like, I mean, if we talk about what we've seen from MPJ the last 2 years, like what would MPJ cooking look like? Like he doesn't exactly create for himself with his body the way it is. That being said, he continues to look more healthy, and that makes him look more like the prospect MPJ. And so I think naturally, like as he gets more fluid, etc., he will be able to acquire more shots for himself within the offense that I don't think he necessarily can right now. Like, I don't think it's being iced out. Like, I think his role is kind of perfect for him from what we've seen. I think for him, some things I would love to see him focus on is just quicker shooting off of screens, his DHO stuff. Like, I think there's things it's incredible how good he is with areas like that where he can improve. I think he can get himself 2 or 3 more shots a game if he's like kind of hits screens a little harder and, improves his footwork, etc. So for me, not to pick on MPJ, but I think his role will increase as his skill increases and now as his body continues to feel better, which I think it really is clear he looks better the further he gets from the injuries.
I think we can all agree that the starters will be really, really good this year again. They will probably be the best starting lineup in the league, probably the best 5-man lineup in the league. Now, Jamal stagger last year in the regular season didn't work really well. It wasn't the best lineup out there. How important is it for the Nuggets that Jamal stagger is good, and is there maybe a chance that we get more like Porter stagger instead of Jamal stagger, and see if Porter with defenders could just cook the other backup units? Whoever wants to take this one.
I guess I'll go. I think that everything is on the table. Like I can see, Reggie playing with Jokic a lot, and then Jamal staggering. I definitely think that earlier on, like last year, it didn't really work well in the regular season. But I kind of wonder how much of that is just him getting back from injury, and then you had Bones that was taking up a lot of possessions before that, and then they just weren't playing very well after that. I think that everything is on the table, but what I would like to see is a lot more, and this is alluding back to my previous answer, of now that Vlatko's out, you will hopefully see MPJ with the bench, and maybe he just provides that offense, which isn't going to be pretty, but at the same time, it's probably going to be pretty good. So, I mean, that'd be something I'd like to see.
Yeah, I would just love, MPJ with the bench is just fun because it's like, I think we would all love to see like MPJ getting more shots and what that looks like. So, I believe in the Jamal stagger. I think it caught too much flack last year, but I think ideally try what you need to try out. And MPJ with the bench, in theory, sounds fun.
Peter, is Reggie Jackson a good point guard for Michael Porter in the stagger?
He's a point guard. I'm open to it. They brought him back, so they obviously liked him enough to give him a chance. So I'm rooting for it. I hope it works out.
Just so you guys know, I mean, you don't even have to ask, but yes, the Will Barton Union is taking on Reggie Jackson as a client. We will be working closely with Reggie this year.
Yeah.
I'm glad to hear at least somebody is representing him, because the fanhood, the fan base wasn't really great on that.
One thing with Reggie,
yeah,
I was going to say with Reggie, like, I think that maybe possibly they're paying him a lot of money to just be a guy who can play but doesn't have to play. So I would not be surprised if he's at some point out of the rotation and they see how that goes. Because I just can't really justify the contract any other way other than, man, that was pretty crazy to pay somebody for that. But maybe it is like his last deal, and they're just paying him to basically be a good soldier that they might need. I don't know.
Yeah, you never love a contract when, like, my first thought is like, yeah, maybe it's like for trade structuring.
I did say the same thing about DeAndre last year, though. I was like, yeah, he's a good locker room guy. Everybody likes him. He can play. He doesn't have to, and it really worked out. And people were.
Yeah, and Reggie he's a very competent player. He scored like 18 points in playoffs only 2 years ago, or 2 years ago even. So he can play. I think that if he's out of the rotation by the end of the season, that's actually a really good outcome for the Nuggets, because that means that Jalen Pickett is probably really good, and he's overtaking his minutes, and that's something you always want to hear. And more about the rookies in our third segment, but before that, we need to take a short break.
That's why I think the contract may be Reggie's contract, though, might be that second year tradable, possibly. It's just
okay. We are back. We have another good question from Brad, and he asked, what if none of the Nuggets youngsters hit, starting from Peyton Watson and then, of course, the rookies? This is a real concern to me. Depending on this development, we'll be able to properly assess Calvin Booth's moves this summer. If some of those guys hit, he's a genius. If none of them do, it's going to be a rough look. I'm lower on Watson than Boast, only because I haven't really seen him in meaningful NBA regular season games. He played double-digit minutes in 6 games last season, and you've guessed it, it was the last 6 games of the season. He actually played 17 or more minutes in all of those games. The Nuggets lost 4 of those games because they were not playing for anything. But nobody is tanking in October and November, so we'll see pretty quickly what he is ready for this season. Of course, we should expect some positive strides from him during the season, but we'll see. Let's wax poetic about the expectations of Peyton for a bit. So, Ray, what do you expect of P. Watt?
Well, so we've seen him like in summer league, and then also like in the last few games, he had like an increased role, I would believe, from where he was at, where he's going to be this year. So I kind of do have a little more confidence in him than just because his role is going to be, I hope, at least more limited. He's not going to be taking like these high usage roles on. So I think if you narrow down what they're asking of him, it could be pretty good. I don't think it's a guarantee, but I feel pretty confident in it. When he was out there, he kind of looked like he looked like he was an NBA player. He looked pretty decent. He was making enough plays to make up for his mistakes, which, is kind of the opposite of a Christian Brown, but like it's still, I think, livable or passable.
Miro's muted. I'm gonna jump in and say, yeah, I'm so excited for the Peyton Watson experience. Like, if you reflect on the Nuggets team building, I mean, how many pure like athletic wings have the Nuggets had in the last 8 years? I mean, pretty much none. I would call Gordon and MPJ like different versions of that sort of wing. So like just kind of like your classic like Paul George type of archetype of wing is just obviously one of the most fun things to watch in basketball. So Peyton, I think he's going to be incredible in transition. I think he's like the amount of splash defensive plays he had at the end of last regular season was just crazy. I mean, it was just wild. He immediately looked like our best rim protector as a 19-year-old. So I think obviously the hype's probably a little out of hand. Like, I mean, he's probably going to have some like down moments, which is completely to be expected, but I'm super, super excited to watch him play. I think he'll probably have it. I mean, everyone said this, so whatever. Like, he'll probably have a similar track to Christian Brown at last year. Maybe more of a lock in the rotation with the Vlatko injury. But I mean, I think he'll probably have some times where Malone has to pull him.
Peter, that's the best case scenario, right? If he has the same ramp up like Christian Brown last year.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's interesting when we talk about basketball and we talk about players as individuals, I always think it's interesting because it's so easy to just look at what a guy does well and doesn't do well. But I always have to look at it from the perspective of what's your role on the team and what kind of team do you play for? And we all know how good Nikola Jokic is, but I don't think you can really underestimate how incredible Jokic is at bringing fringe NBA guys to being competent NBA players. I mean, just look what he did 2 years ago with all the injuries. I mean, the fact that Nuggets team beat the Blazers in a playoff series still blows my mind. So if you bring in Peyton Watson, who's, like Duce said, one of the best athletes we've had in a while, this isn't a perfect comparison, but it kind of reminds me of that first season with Jokic and Kenneth Faried. He was more of a true four, but think about all the easy baskets Faried got just by being active and hustling. There's no reason Peyton can't do the same type of thing. So to me, I think he's a guy that, yeah, you want to play, but he was still really engaged on the bench last year, watching everything, talking to vets, asking questions, being a sponge and just learning. And so, yeah, I think there's going to be some rough parts for sure. But the good thing about Malone's coaching is if we've learned anything, if you look at the way MPJ's careers went, steady uphill climb, I think he's going to treat Peyton the same way, which is he's going to, get on him about mistakes. And I really think he's a guy that we just have to be patient with. He'll have some flashes early. He'll get benched here and there. But I think as long as he sticks with it, he's a guy that's really going to prove a lot as the season goes on.
Oh, I think he's still
Miroslav, you're muted.
Yeah. Deuce, so out of the other three, I'm constantly muting myself because I'm a bit under the weather, so I have to mute myself from time to time. But Deuce, out of the three rookies, who do you have the most hopes for, of being impact players?
When I was thinking about this, I mean, you guys think about this. I reflected on me consuming Summer League. I mean, I think Hunter Tyson's the best nugget that's ever been at Summer League, performance-wise. Like, I think Bones is the other one that came to mind for me that was, like, awesome at Summer League. But especially relative to expectation, I'm just like, I mean, have the Nuggets had any all Summer League players in the last 7 years? Like, I don't know if we have. Correct me if I'm wrong, obviously. So, yeah, Hunter Tyson looked amazing. Like, that was so funny. That was so sick. Highest expectations for this season, probably Jalen Pickett, just because I think he also kind of looks like an NBA player. And the question for him is he a third string point guard or, a second string point guard? And I think there's kind of a clear path to him playing a little bit because I think he could play with Reggie even pretty easily. Tyson now, I think has a more clear path to minutes. So that's really interesting because I think he looked incredible at Summer League. I think Strother, I love the Strother pick just because I think that skill set is a skill set that the Nuggets like badly needed. And in general, we typically haven't brought in like, kind of motion shooters and like really good bench shooters. So I think Strother will be, I love his fit. I think he kind of looks like he is a guy that needs to maybe develop a few more skills to like be on the NBA floor consistently.
Okay, so Ray, let's try to handicap this. What are the odds that none of the rookies are good rotation players next season?
Okay, let's define good though. Like, do we mean as good as say Jeff Green was last year? Or
No.
Good,
No,
like
that's probably too good. I mean, like, not disastrous. Not like take this guy out of there because we're bleeding all the time because of he is on the court.
So none of them. I would say like plus 300, plus 400. I'm pretty confident that one or two will hit. And when I say hit, I mean they'll just be. You'll look out there and you won't think that they don't belong. And I think it's actually going to be higher than that. So I would say, yeah, plus 300, plus 400, 4-1, 3-1. Or I say 5-1, 4-1. I'm pretty confident. 20%.
I don't know what that means, but I heard pretty confident. So let's go.
20%. I should just say that.
I don't know. I don't think Pickett or Strother are going to play much next year. I think Hunter Tyson's the only guy that's really like got a chance. I mean, at the very least, he's going to go out there and be 6'8", so he can get rebounds and hopefully hit open shots. I mean, if you watch Summer League, he wasn't doing anything crazy. He was playing smart basketball, catching and shooting open shots, pumping and driving when they're closing out hard. That's something you can do at the NBA level, and those shots are going to be there as long as he's playing with, guys that are playing the right way. So I think his skill from what he did at Summer League is, I'm not going to say very repeatable, but like that style of game, he doesn't have to like change his game or improve all that much to me to be an impact player. Whereas to me, Strother's got a long way to go on defense and in the strength department, and Pickett just, I don't have enough time to pick apart his game right now. I don't think he's going to play next year.
Oh man, I love Pickett. So I think I disagree. I think he's going to actually play fairly early. We'll see, but he just reminds me a lot of like almost like a hybrid of like Monte Morris and Andre Miller, in that he doesn't really make mistakes, but he still kind of uses his body to get where he needs to go, and then just such an amazing passer. I don't know how they're going to be able to keep.
He's a sick passer, dude.
Yeah,
his highlights from college are sick.
Yeah.
His thing, I think Pickett, that maybe has the thing that's gotten maybe a little overlooked is, look at Summer League and then the very little tape review that I did. Defensively, he gets destroyed on screens. Yeah, for him, it's more defensively. But I love Jalen Pickett. He's cool.
Yeah, one thing that was the most interesting to me about Hunter Tyson pick is the fact that when he was picked by Kellen Booth, everybody was panicking because nobody had him in their top 60 big boards. and I just loved that. Like everybody go, who? It's like the meme. And then it's quite possible that we'll get the most impact guy in the first year at least. I mean, he is a fifth-year guy out of college, so it makes a lot of sense, really. It wouldn't be that much of a surprise. Okay, let's take another short break, and then we'll come back with a game. Okay, we're back. A shorter final segment for today. I've prepped an interesting game for you guys. And it's a game about the two fan bases we like the most. We like the Lakers fans and we like the Philly fans. So this game I've called a 76er, a Laker, or both. I will give you a name of a player and you will tell me if this guy was on the Sixers, on the Lakers, or both. If you just say one and he's been on both, that's not the correct answer. So first guy to answer will be Ducey.
Racing?
Sorry?
Or are we racing to answer this first? Is that the game?
No. You will be in the order. So Duce will answer first. If he misses, Peter will get the chance. If he misses as well, Ray will have a free point from this game. So and then of course next question is for Peter and so on. So the first guy for today, Roy Hibbert, Nuggets legend Roy Hibbert.
Is this for me?
Yeah.
Lakers.
And that's correct. That is correct. Roy Hibbert played only for the Lakers. I mean, he didn't play for the 76ers. He did play for a fair number of teams, just not the 76ers. Okay, Peter, a question for you. Nuggets legend Bobby Jones.
Sixers.
Only Sixers?
Final answer.
It's a correct answer.
man.
Actually, it's pretty sad to me, actually, because Bobby Jones played more seasons in Philly than in Denver. He played for 4 seasons in Denver, but 2 of those were in the ABA league. Okay, Ray, question for you. We are perfect for so far. Ray,
I'm gonna screw it up.
Ish Smith.
Whoa.
Another Nuggets legend, by the way.
Yeah, I'm just trying to remember if I've seen him play.
He played for all 30 teams, Ray.
I'm gonna say both. I don't feel very confident about that at all, but I don't remember him playing for the Lakers.
Okay, Ray, that is wrong. That is wrong.
Okay.
Deuce, your chance.
Sixers.
That is correct. He only played for the 76ers. Yes, it was an easy get after we didn't get the Lakers there. Okay, Deuce, it's your question now. We only have 3 more, don't worry. Trevor Ariza.
Both.
Both? Is that your final answer?
Yeah.
Both is wrong.
Oh,
He did not play for both teams. So, Peter, time for you to grab a point.
Oh man, this is a layup. Lakers.
Yes, he only
well,
played for
I
the
knew
Lakers.
he played for the Lakers, Peter. I just thought he also played for the Sixers because Daryl Morey lives in Philly.
Yeah, he
Right.
did play for like 11 different teams. So you had a pretty good chance to get that one. But no, Trevor Ariza never played for the 76ers. Okay, now, Peter, this is your question, right?
Mhm.
Jim Jackson. Now we're going a bit into the past.
Ooh. I'm gonna say Sixers.
Is that your final answer?
Final answer.
Ray, what is your answer? Because that's not correct.
Okay, so I know he played for the Lakers. I mean, now we know. I'm just trying to remember if he played for the Sixers.
I don't know who this is. This is a fake name. There's no way this is a name.
I remember
This guy,
him mostly on the
played
Mavericks.
for Sacramento Kings.
By
so
the
that-
way,
that's what I know.
everybody has played for the Lakers in my head because they just go players like crazy. So let's go Lakers only. Final answer, and I think it's wrong.
And that's also wrong. So, Deuce, do you remember what the first 2 answers were? Maybe you can get the right one now.
Ray, did you just say Lakers only?
Can't tell you that.
I'm gonna go with both here.
Yes, both is the correct answer.
You want to know how close I was to not getting that right? It's scary.
Look at that
forgot he was
posture,
on the
guys.
Wow.
I would love to get a guy that looks
Dude,
like this on the
That's
Nuggets.
a good-looking guy.
Yep, very good looking guy. Okay, last question for today, and it's for Ray. Joe Smith, another guy, another Nuggets
You're
legend.
making up names. You're making up names.
This is a Nuggets legend.
He's the number 1 pick, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was number 1 overall.
Okay.
I do know Joe Smith.
I can almost always. I feel like I can picture every one of these guys in a Laker uniform, but I'm like, did they play for the Sixers? Okay, I'm gonna say both because it's like the default answer.
Ray,
I don't know. Yes.
you are correct. A point for you.
Total guess.
Yes, Joe Smith actually did play for both of these teams and for the NBA champions, Denver Nuggets. It's just that they weren't NBA champions when he was playing there. So yeah, okay, guys, that's it for today. Do you have any topic that you would like to tackle before we go out?
Just pretty cool that the Nuggets won the championship, guys, and it's been really fun to think about that. Not that I don't think about it like 12 hours a day anyway. So what a pleasure on a Saturday afternoon.
Yeah.
What we do have are those receipts by Wade and Nikola Static. Good job from those guys.
I think people have gotten off easy. I mean, I'm ready to go to war for however long it takes. I think we got more stuff to say.
Ray? something, closing thoughts?
Yeah. So I think we all kind of agree here that Jokic is most likely say in the last 4 years, the third best player behind Jordan and LeBron. At least that's how I feel. But it's kind of led me to start thinking about post Jokic Denver Nuggets fandom, and it's just really bleak just thinking about that, because we are so lucky that we have this guy who's like, he's like better than perfect. Like if you could have, like, before Jokic existed,
Bro, why would you say this?
Yeah,
I don't want to think about this. I just said it's Saturday.
I'm sorry, but you put Jokic in a lab, or you put your you can just write up the best player, all of his attributes, and I don't think you could have made him as good as what we actually get to root for every year. And just thinking about that not existing anymore, it actually kind of makes me sad.
Now that you said that about post Jokic era, Peter, are you excited for the Lakers that they now have the guy for post LeBron years, next 5 years of Anthony Davis? That's exciting, right?
I mean, he's not a scrub. He's good. It's just, Jokic is a tough matchup for him, just like Jokic is a tough matchup for anybody. Like, it was crazy because I just remember, after we got through the Suns, so many people in the media were like, all right, well, now it's going to end and Davis is going to shut Jokic down. And by the end of that series, I actually felt bad for Anthony Davis. Like, that's how much, even as a diehard Nuggets fan that's been watching this guy's whole career, I could not believe he gave him that ass whooping.
The crazy thing about how great Jokic is, I think he missed more shots in the Lakers series than like I would typically expect, and it still just didn't matter.
The funniest thing for me was from one of the Lakers accounts that said that, yeah, you think AD is injured, but he actually played in 194 games in the last 4 years, which is more than Kawhi and more than PG and more than Steph. And you're just naming guys that have been the most injured guys in the league for the last 4 seasons. Like, kudos to you. I mean, that's less than 50 games per year. That's
well,
not that
and Miroslav, you know what else was crazy about that series is Jokic didn't even look phased at the end. He didn't look like this was hard work for him. Do you remember in the bubble how exhausted he was after getting beat up by Dwight Howard, fouling him every play? This was like a walk in the park for him compared to that.
Yeah. He also played 14 games, though, didn't he, that year? Yeah, those first 2 rounds. So that was probably part of it. Yeah. But he doesn't have, I don't think he's scared of the moment. It doesn't seem like.
No. He just solved it. Jokic just solved basketball. He just knows what to do. He's a different player now than 3 years ago. And it's the conditioning, of course, but it's also the mental aspect of it. He's just like, come on, guys. This is all you got?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Better than perfect.
Okay, so Nuggets basketball is still months away, so you can expect some World Cup takes in the weeks ahead. I'm waiting to see the rosters finalized before making any predictions, but don't worry, there will be plenty of Nuggets takes as well. I will make sure to get another batch of great guests whose perspectives should be heard. See you in a week, and don't forget, you are still the NBA champions. Go Nuggets.
Sweet.